Hello everyone and welcome to another one of my videos. I hope you guys are still enjoying Season of Discovery. I am at least. I'm testing a lot of the PvP changes that the developers are bringing. I myself am not going to be playing Cataclysm, even though I actually have some good memories to that time. Season 9 was when I managed to get my first Gladiator title. Back then, obviously, I was a lot younger and mechanically better. Also, I have to admit, back then, I bet players weren't nearly as good as they are today. So I think nowadays I'm better off just playing Season of Discovery and Classic Era, even though I have to say Arenas and Wrath of the Lich King were quite fun for me. And I'm still playing, when I play Arenas, I usually still end up in the mid to high duelist range myself. Now, before we get into all the PvP details and the fighting, I would like to point out once more that these duels and these fights are oftentimes just against random players, and I myself don't consider myself to be one of the top PvP players. This is just content that's supposed to show you the power of the Soul Link spec, and also supposed to show you that even if if you consider yourself an average type of WoW player, if you get your gear right, if you get your spec right, and you know exactly what to do, you don't have to be the best mechanical player to own. So in this situation, it's going to be a little 1v3 action. Actually, I just start with this Druid, and there are going to be two others joining the fight. And you can see, even though I make mistakes, okay, I banish the meta lock as usual, so then it's a 1v2. And obviously, these people are not really playing to the best of their ability, let's say. But still, as you can see, you can be owning with the spec. And this is one of the reasons why I run around with it, and why I hope you guys have been appreciating my content. In any case, here obviously you banish the pet once he gets out of banish, because now the lock is without pet, and the situation is looking pretty good. Probably you want to fear the lock earlier than I do. I'm trying to recuperate some mana, and when I do finally get him into the fear, unfortunately it breaks early, so I should be re-fearing immediately, but then again I notice he's very low HP and he's just gonna die. And meanwhile, I do realize that we have a lock spectating our little fight. Obviously, for me as a content creator, it's kind of nice when they don't intervene in the action. And you guys know I love recording fights against other Warlocks, so that's what I'm gonna do. They actually open me. It's one level 50 Warlock and one level 46, but I still thought it would be nice to beat them. Obviously, the start is not going well. I get double charged, I counter one of them. The guys, I'm not getting anything out. I'm already half HP, got Curse of Tongues, got the full line of dots, but I decide, okay, just fear and CC the high level one and attack the weaker low level one. Now I do trust in all of my self-healing, which is actually doing a lot of work here. Now I see the high level lock is coming back towards me while I'm fighting the low level guy, but the low level guy has full dots and is probably just gonna die. So, and he does. So that makes it a 1v1 now. Now the strat you know here is, okay, he actually tries to intercept my fear, which was nice, but the fear still landed on him, which is good for me. So I'm dotting up this guy, and now what you want to do, as you know from my previous videos, you want to banish his pet, because then the duel is over. I mean, I do decide to try to UA him here. Guess that's kind of a mistake. He's out of range anyway. I just should have banished the pet immediately. But I do finally get this off. I managed to lock his fear. I could have played this whole situation better, but as you can see, even the way I played it is good enough to get the kill. And the guy even does decide to soulstone. Never do this. I mean, there's no point in soulstoning as a warlock. Once you die, you don't have a pet, you don't have anything. I mean, he does learn to banish my pet here, and I think he has hopes of beating me. But I'm just gonna take it before you guys see the outcome. He's not gonna beat me. He now just summoned his pet, but his pet is just standing there. He's still in banish because I had banished him before he died. That's unfortunately a bug that's been, yeah, following us for a time. My pet gets out of banish. I just nade and silence him. He's just dead. So yeah. Next up, we have a little 1v2 scenario. I see a Warlock, I see a Rogue. The Warlock is a low level, but I anyway decide to charge the Rogue so he cannot stun me. I get coiled. I'm not so worried about the Warlock. He's low level, and most locks, especially when they don't main lock, they have no idea what they're doing anyway. So I just make quick work of the Rogue first. He did banish my pet, which was actually pretty good. And I do drop super low here, but obviously the health pot saves me. And yeah, I could be sending my pet to attack, which I'm doing now. I'm banishing his pet. I drop low again. but still, I'm quite confident that even with 15 HP, I can still survive with my drain life. Obviously, this was maybe a bit greedy play from me, but as you can see, even when you're very, very low HP, as long as you know you have the drain life going and you know the haunt heal is going to come, you can still beat these guys. And before we know it, I actually find these guys again and decide to go for the rematch. Obviously, it's not a fair fight when I open the rogue, which I do here, but yeah, it was a pretty close one on the first go, so I thought, okay, maybe fight them again. This time I coil and I CC the lock actually as well. But the rogue, again, is just quick work. I drop really low again. I use the Hellstone. And now it's the same thing. I try to banish the pet after I feared the Warlock. And once you get that kind of a CC chain out, you're likely to just win the fight. Now, next up, this Warlock was really smart attacking me while I was kind of AFK. He got all the dots up and everything. I just trinket the coil, I charge the guy, he sacks his Voidwalker. Meanwhile, I got dots up as well, and I'm just on the front seat now trying to fear him, but yeah, he just dies. But don't do this, guys. Don't use a Soul Stone after you've died. You're just gonna die again. And now what I want to show you is some guides on how to beat classes. We see a Paladin here, so I see a Paladin. Obviously you want to get the guy into fear. You know that he is gonna bubble at some point. Some Paladins already bubble, right, like this guy in the fear. When he hodges you and you do not have a Fell Hunter, you want to immediately press the trinket for the hodge. Not like me, you don't want to sit this because you just want to hodge and you just want to outlast the bubble. Now you ideally want to fear the guy. You see I drop quite low, but the pet charge helps me. I gain some distance. I dot the guy. I'm going to be able to region up here. I decide to cast a Shadow Bolt because he's quite far away, but the fear breaks. So I stop that. I just haunt him and I kill him. Paladins should never be an issue to you guys. This is one of the easier matchups. Next up is Rogue. You see he cheap shots and I just decide to charge the cheap shot into a coil so he doesn't get to kidney me. Ideally you want to fear here. The fear breaks immediately, but I have some dots up. Ideally you want to have Haunt and Drain Life up, not necessarily Corruption and Agony, but this guy doesn't know what he's doing anyway, so it's a very easier one. Obviously when you don't have Trinket like I have right now, you see it's on cooldown, things can look a lot different. Check this one out. Now the guy next does a lot more damage, and ideally you want to be charging after he does his cheap shot, but a bit later. I have it on auto charge and defense mode, which is not the ideal opener. Also, I start with 92% HP. I charge it too early. He trinkets the charge immediately and lines up the kidney perfectly. I have no trinket, and if the guy does as much damage as this guy, he will just 100-0 you in one stun. So make sure you have a trinket, and if you don't have a trinket, in either way, try to pet charge him at the end of the cheap shot. Now if you do have trinket, things look a lot different. I charge the guy, he trinkets my charge. I wait for the kidney, I instantly trinket that, haunt, drain life, and demonic grace him. Now obviously you should be using coil to make it safer because I do drop to 27% here, but I feel that he has no chance of killing me because I know my heals are coming in, and then you just beat the rogue. And this is how most duels should look like against rogue. There's really not a reason why you should die unless they're much, much better than you. Next up is Shaman. You really want to get him into fear. So either you pet charge or you coil like I'm doing here. Previously I used Curse of Agony to remove the grounding effect, even though the grounding totem is still there. I use my pet to get rid of the tremor totem. I dot the guy, and right here I don't just cast Haunt because it can break the effect. I rather cast a Shadow Bolt with the Haunt for a big burst, and the guy just dies in the opener and has no chance. Now here we got another one against the same guy. This time I pet charge him. I use Curse of Agony on the grounding. Now I fear him, and obviously the tremor is still up, so it breaks immediately, but I still have my coil. The guy doesn't have a trinket as it seems. But ideally you want to be microing your pet so it can destroy the tremor while you're casting fear. Here you see me drain life into a grounding, but it didn't matter because the guy still died due to my damage. Now next up we have a short duel with the damage reduce with the first damage reduce patch. I charge the guy, I use Curse of Agony to remove the grounding effect, and I fear and I try to tremor. Actually the grounding effect got back on him before I managed to get the fear, but my pet killed his tremor and I'm just dotting him. And the only way you were able to beat Shamans in the first DR patch is by getting lucky with your fears. I mean, look at that. He's dropped all the way down to 39%. The first fear lasted. I just re-feared him. He's still in fear, and now I try to finish him when he gets out with the pet charge. with some damage, and he is dead. So fear really is still your best ability. Now, after the second damage reduction patch went live, I can tell you it's been easier again beating shamans. I charge him here and manage to kill the tremor with my pet at the same time. Kind of neat. I dot him here while he's in fear. You can already see in which way this is going. I cast Immolate because I think he's going to interrupt me, but he actually doesn't. So the grounding is up, but I casted the Agony to get rid of the grounding effect into the coil. I already feared him again. I haunt him. Unfortunately, he gets out of fear a bit too early, so he can Riptide. He takes a potion here, as you can see, but he's really dead. So, yeah. You can make quick work of shamans now if you know what you're doing. And more or less the same goes for priests. They're still somewhat challenging, but you can see this guy pop the homunculi on me. I fear him. He wills that. So there's no point in recasting fear at all. I'm using a Fell Hunter trying to dispel his silence, but due to all the debuffs I don't manage to get it. He resists my counterspell, which is also kind of unfortunate. But at that time I do get a fear, it breaks again. I cast UA on him, full dots and haunt. And luckily the homunculi are all on my pet. So the guy is just gonna die without dispersion in my coil. He did disperse in the very end, but obviously this was too late, and the guy was no match for me. Let's try a different guy. Obviously you want to have your pet far away from you, so it doesn't get feared. I just will his fear. My Fell Hunter is in fear now. That's not ideal, but since he's going to be in fear, okay, he gets out as well. He trinketed that, I think. My Fell Hunter did dispel the silence, which you always want to be doing. I interrupt his Mind Blast, so he's locked on Shadow, and now is the time where I just get all my dots up, and I hope for my healing to get back in. You always want to be trying to refear, as I'm doing here, and I'm fearing a third time, and if I'm lucky, he'll just die in this fear. Obviously, he should have dispersed, but I guess he forgot. Let's check out some other priests, like this guy. This time my pet is positioned a lot better. I managed to get him into fear, which he wills. I'm just going to be running a bit, applying the dots. My pet is still in range for when he silences me. I do counterspell his Mind Blast, and now just try to refear him, get my UA up. He has a pretty big dots ticking already. He silences me now. I have no dispel because I use it offensively, but the guy just dies. And here's him again. Let's see how this duel goes. He's running after me. This time I decided to use a Felguard, which is not ideal, but you can still pull it off. Unfortunately, my fears resist on him. This is one of the reasons why we overcap the hit and use the spell pen. But still it can resist, obviously. I dot him while he's in the fear, and I try to cast a Shadow Bolt with a Haunt, which does quite good burst damage. Unfortunately, no crits here. And he gets to heal all the way up. I have no counter spell as I am running my Felguard. I coil him just when he disperses, so actually this was bad by me or unlucky, but he just dies. Now we're gonna play against a priest who actually knows more about what he's doing than the other guys. I get him into fear, which he wills, which should be the standard opener. He dispels the haunt effect immediately. So this is actually the first real duel against a priest. I guess he trinketed my coil. I'm trying to dispel my silence, but it didn't go, but at least I interrupted him. Finally, I'm going to be able to get him into fear right here. And this is the opener you want against a real priest like this guy. It takes a bit longer to get that. But your key is you have to get this guy into fear. Positioning is very important because the fear range is quite small. You want to be close to him while he's trying to gain the distance. You can see for some reason he's already in a little bit of trouble. I grenade him, try to get the fear off again. I was afraid that he would fear me there, but probably he didn't have that up yet. I counterspell his heal, and actually right here, even though he goes into disperse, he actually ends up just dying. And next up, we got the same guy. This time he's using utility trinkets, the Dragonling and the Battle Chicken, which obviously put him at an advantage. This should make the duel much easier for him. I just dot him, but he dispels. I can't really get any fear off due to all the spell pushback on me. I get the UA, but the guy is still pretty far away from me, and you want to have a closer range to this kind of guy. I do coil him, he is forced to disperse, and I silence him as well. He drops kinda low, but as you can see, I'm quite low as well, and the silence makes it kind of dangerous, and now finally the Tidal Charm stun, which is another trinket, seals the deal, and I die. I decide to fight the same guy again because I think it's good practice. I accept the duel. The My pet is pretty well positioned this time. I try to get a fear off on him, which I do. He wills that, and actually he stuns my pet with the helmet, but that breaks pretty quick because I'm Soul Link, and obviously the damage, my damage on me is going to get shared with my pet, so this was not a good move from his part. He does try to run away as in the previous duels. My UA resists. He's still trying to dispel all my things, which is what most priests are going to be doing. They're just going to try to get all the dispels. But here, finally, I got some dots up. He fears me, I will that. And just trying again to get the UA out. I got the UA now and my full dots. He's already kind of low. So playing clean, maybe he could die here. While he's trying to outrange me, I just continue to chase, and he does indeed die. Enough of these priests. We're gonna fight a druid here who opens with a root on me. I do decide to go for the Felguard because I don't really care about the Dispel or the UA here. I get to charge, which is a really nice gap closer. I coil immediately. He trinkets that, but I fear him. Unfortunately, the fear breaks, otherwise he would have been in real big trouble already. But even like this, he's kind of in trouble. What he should be doing is trying to kite me better. But this is one of the reasons why I go for the Felguard, because the charge can be really nice to close the distance. And versus Druid, it's really like some other classes, you want to get him into fear. Just put him under a lot of pressure, and then likely he will just lose the duel. Now, I didn't really bother recording any duels against Mage. Mage fight an uphill battle against you. Obviously, their main strategy to win could be to kite you and to outrange your drain life ability and always to block your haunt, but basically it's really hard for them to beat us. You can always cast fire abilities to try to juke their counterspell, because once they lock you on fire, you're free to cast shadow spells, but that's about it. You shouldn't really have any trouble against mages of your skill level. Now, regarding warriors, I didn't include them. I think you saw them on my other videos. If not, go check it out, especially on the one I uploaded previous to this one. Warriors really have no chance at all. It's just a tank and spank. You just press Demonic Grace. Obviously, you're going to have to use your Felguard pet to make sure you have the additional 10% damage and physical damage reduction, which stacks with the Soul Link, but you shouldn't really have any problem against them. And against Feral Druids, it should be fairly similar as against Warriors. Keep in mind, Feral Druids will use the Berserk cooldown, which means you will not be able to fear them, and that's why you should just be doing damage and not trying to waste any globals on fear. Now, Hunters can actually be a little bit tricky. Not this guy I'm dueling here, but I actually did face a couple of Hunters in Battlegrounds recently who were successfully outranging me, which can always be difficult. Ideally, you want to be using your Felguard, which helps you catch up to them, and you want to stay close to them, just so you can get your dots up and try to get them in fear if needed. And if you do that, you can win. If they outrange you and you cannot apply your spells, then the chances are actually high that they will just kill you from afar. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope I was able to bring you the different matchups a bit closer, and if you have any open questions, please feel free to send a comment or just send me a message on Discord, and I'll be happy to help you on that way. Other than that, wish you a lot of luck in Sunken Temple. I hope you guys have been luckier than I have. I only got the Nightmare Trophy so far, which at least is a nice actual physical DPS wand, but other than that, I really would like to get the unused trinket. And which, by the way, I saw on the Warlock Discord, some people are still using the Torment. I personally don't do it. Technically, it can proc from the Grenade, from Haunt, from Searing Pain, and from Wanding, but I think it would need to proc from dot applications to make it worth it for me. I'm waiting on the unused trinket from the raid. And also, yeah, obviously I kind of need a new weapon and I need some more slots as well. I hope you guys have been luckier than I have. If you're going to be playing Cataclysm soon, I wish you luck with that and a lot of fun. I'm still going to be making some Season of Discovery content, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you next time. Please feel free to subscribe if you like my content, and have a great day.